Now, there is only one place to start. What a venue. Smell that history. Anyway, after a break of 13 years, professional boxing returns to the Royal Albert Hall on Saturday when Frank Warren promotes a big bill featuring a selection of London fighters. The main event is the vacant Commonwealth middleweight title fight between Tony Hill and Beijing Olympian Billy Joe Saunders. I caught up with them both earlier. First, Billy, and I mentioned to him that it is the start of a very, very big 12 months.
It is indeed, yeah. I mean, 2012 couldn't get any better, really, Commonwealth title. Hopefully come away Saturday with a real good performance, what I'm hoping to put in, and move on to bigger and better things, and hopefully I win the British forward Olympic Games as well.
So it's an interesting thing looking at Tony Hill is that you sort of sense that he thinks that perhaps he's been overlooked and that perhaps you're underestimating him. And I think, I don't know about you, Bill, I think he's going to come at you. I think he's going to come and have a fight.
Well, listen, that's what I'm in this game for. I'm not in this game to get paid for easy money. I don't want to. Obviously, we all could like to go and fight bums 24/7 and getting good money for it. But at the end of the day, I want to have a good fight, and that's what's going to happen Saturday night. It's going to be a very good fight going to happen, and I hope we do come and fight because I know one thing: I'm coming to fight.
Billy Joe Saunders there. Tony Hill has not had an easy passage to this fight, but he's taking this very seriously and has managed to get 4 weeks off from work to get ready. I asked him if he was feeling fantastic.
Yeah, it's good. I'm training hard, resting. Can't wait to go.
Now, Tone, you had a good amateur pedigree, mixed with good boys, went up to Sheffield, but sort of just fell through the system.
Yeah.
There, hard decisions, a couple maybe went against you. But if you'd have had a couple of decisions go your way, things could have been different 4 or 5 years ago, couldn't they?
That's boxing. Sometimes things happen for a reason. Slipped under the radar, but now I've got a good chance now to come back and prove myself.
Now, Billy insists that he won't be underestimating you, but somewhere in your mind, do you think that perhaps he will be?
Well, he better not, but I don't think he's been boxing too long. He may have done it before in the past, had tough fights with people he shouldn't have done. You've learned not to. Anyone can give you a tough fight on any given day, so I think maybe.
Now, you dropped a tight decision to Kerry Holt, right?
Yeah.
He's gone on in a title eliminator. He's gone on. He's now the European champion,
yeah.
And as Billy has said, that could have been all very different today. You could have been watching this today and looking for a future opponent.
Oh no, that's partly does what got me, but it's what drives me on and what drives me for the last 4 weeks of training to reverse it.
But what went wrong in that fight? You talked about not getting out of first gear. Why couldn't you get out of first gear? It was an important fight.
Yeah, I just come in there and I just felt lethargic, couldn't get out of first gear. I struggled a little bit with the weight, just
it was short notice, wasn't it, as well?
Short notice. And yeah, I just couldn't get out of first gear, but for this, there's no excuses with nothing. This fight, I'll definitely be out of first gear and I'll be going through and showing what I can do.
Showing what I can do. Now, in Billy's corner on Saturday will be Jimmy Tibbs, a Royal Albert Hall veteran. He fought here as a man and as a boy. I grabbed him for a chat and asked him about his memories from the ancient hall.
Yes, boxed as junior and senior amateur, and I had about 15, 16 pro fights here, yeah.
Even I always remember coming to the Royal Albert Hall in the early 70s for the London semis, London finals. Right. And even if it was half empty, it had atmosphere. You know what I mean by that, Jim?
Right, the atmosphere. When I fought Mark Rowe in the semi-final of the Londons, we sold the place out.
And you also smashed a pair of you.
Yeah, and we both yourself. Got beat that day. Yeah, both got beat. Well, Ronnie Smith, he nicked it off a Rowe. It's a good fight, good fight.
Now, you also fought here on Howard Winston's undercard when he fought for the world title.
Yes, he fought the Japanese guy, I can't think of his name. Yeah. And it's always a wonderful occasion to box at the Royal Albert Hall, but also on the undercard of a world title fight. Yeah. It's lovely.
And, you know, I don't know about you, Jim, I thought some of the last, before there was boxing stopped here, you know, that's 13 years ago,
yeah.
I thought there were some poor nights here. It sort of lost a bit of that buzz. So, you know, let's hope we can get that buzz back. Let's hope we can get some regular good fights.
Well, there's plenty of good talent coming through now, and I think we can achieve that again. Yeah. And as I say, but they've had a little. Everywhere, go anywhere, they always go through that little bit down period. The country's a little bit of a slide at the moment, but everything gets built back up again.
When you think about some of those regular fight nights in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s, it's quite amazing. I mean, there isn't a fight we didn't fight.
No, that's right. They all fought there. It was good to be around all good fighters like Finnegans, Johnny Clark and Johnny Pritchard, all fighters like that, you know.
I saw Johnny Clark against Maguire. I think that was here. I think they fought twice. I think one was here.
He boxed Rudkin here, and then he boxed Rudkin again, and he lost on points for the first fight with Rudkin, Johnny Clark, and then Rudkin stopped him in 13 rounds, the second fight.
Savage nights, eh?
Yeah, and Billy Walker against Floyd Patterson's brother.
Take your pick with Billy
Walker,
you know. And this weekend, Billy Joe Saunders.
Yes, Billy Joe's ready for it.
I've got to be honest with you, he's the type of fighter, Billy Joe. He would have done well here in the 60s and the 70s.
Yeah,
He's got that kind of thing about him.
He's a fighting man, isn't he?
Yeah,
So he went to the Olympics at 18 years of age. He didn't win a medal, but what an achievement to get picked for 18 years of age. To be fighting all around the country and Europe, to get in that position. Because you just don't win an ABA title now. In my day, if you won the ABA titles, you'd automatically pick for the Olympics. But today, you've got to go through semi-finals and finals in Europe to get picked. So I understand.
No, it is the qualifications.
Yeah, qualifications.
Winning the ABAs is still hard. It's some of the kids won the other week. Sometimes had to box 7 times, 8 times.
Cool,
but once you win that's only stage 1. You've got to go through all those other stages.
It's very difficult.
Very difficult indeed. Now, at the same time as Jimmy was in the ring, Colin Hart of The Sun was in the ringside seat. I spoke to him, and to be honest, I wasn't quite sure where to start. There have been so many big nights that he has witnessed at the glorious venue.
The first fight I covered here was in 1962. It was the late Dave Charnley against an American called J.D. Ellis. It was a 10-round fight, and I think Charnley won on points. I don't think he stopped him. It was Mike Barrett, the promoter's first show here.
Oh, it was his first show?
It was his first show, and that was the headline fight. And of course, down the years, there's been some sensational fights here. Unbelievable nights here.
I mean, it's hard, it's hard for me to work out my favourite night. My favourite fight here, I tell you, was Simpson against Frankie Lucas, which was savage, quick, raw, mad.
What a bang up.
Pure bang up.
Yeah.
But I'd love to have seen the Fad Spencer Leotis Martin, because no one's seen it, because as you told me earlier, the Beeb, in their infinite wisdom, didn't film it.
They didn't televise it, and they refused to film it because they reckoned that the viewers weren't interested in seeing 2 foreigners. And that's the best heavyweight fight I've seen in this country. Not the best heavyweight I've ever seen.
Sure, but
in this country, it was a war from beginning to end. And the crowd got up from their seats before it was stopped by the Scottish referee George Smith in the 9th round, and Leotis Martin won. Yeah. And they crowded round the ring applauding. It was unbelievable. But another wonderful night here was when Howard Winston, in 1968, he fought Mitsunori Seki, the Japanese.
Yeah. Jimmy Tibbs was on the undercard.
Well, there we go. And it was for the vacant title, because he'd had 3 goes at Saunders and lost every one. And it was the 9th round, and the late Roland Dakin, who unfortunately died only a matter of a few weeks ago.
Oh, I didn't realise that.
Yeah, he was in his 90s and living in Mallorca. Anyway, on that night, I mean, I'm sure Winston was going to win the fight anyway. But Dakin stopped the fight in the 9th round to examine a cut above Seki's eye. With that, the Welsh fans thought he'd actually stopped the fight, and they all came in over the press seats, invaded the ring, lifted Winston, and Dakin, look at horror on his face. He hadn't stopped it, but he wasn't going to change his mind. He couldn't have got them out.
And Seki's people were too polite.
Well, there was only a handful of so really and truly, officially, the crowd stopped the fight. But then the singing started, and as I've said, that singing from the Welsh choir who come up from the valleys to support Winston was better than you'd ever heard at the last night at the Proms here.
Oh, brilliant.
So, there's so many memories.
Was there also a famous sort of mock sparring session here with Ali and the light heavyweight Johnny Frankham?
John Conte as well.
Conte as well.
There were several.
Frankham dropped Ali, didn't he? That was like a gag. Well, he had a picture of it in his caravan.
That's right. He fell on the floor. It was a wonderful exhibition of clowning and skill, and it was all very light-hearted, and obviously it appealed to Ali's sense of fun, and everybody loved it. It was, I think he boxed a total of 8 rounds. Yeah, it was just another great night here.
So we're back here with Billy Joe, and I said to Jimmy Tibbs, I thought that Billy Joe would be the type of fighter that might have made a bit of a Royal Albert Hall favourite in his kind of way. You know what I mean?
It would, because he doesn't stop punching.
There we go.
And that's what a lot of people come to boxing for, not for the let's be honest about it. You know, not too many purists there who you know, are into left jabs and left crosses. They want to see a bang up, and Billy Joe,
he does that.
He likes a bang up as well.
And finally, I was talking to Jim Bentley, who works for me over on Box Nation, and I was telling him that it was always famous, the Royal Albert Hall, for the undercards, for different wags in the crowd giving abuse to people. And there's one undercard fight, and we got it on tape, where someone's talking to Mickey Duff. So between rounds, Mickey's shouting back at him, and they're having this conversation, and it's just hilarious. And because that's what it did, the Royal Albert, didn't it? All those regular fights, it attracted a hardcore regular audience.
One night here, always there was to be a show when the motor show was on at Earl's Court, and of course they'd come from all over the country, and all the car dealers and car people used to go to the fights. And I shall never forget this. I forget who was boxing. It was on the undercard, and it was sitting right behind the press seats. And somebody said, they were having a bet on the fight, obviously. Somebody shouted up, one of these car dealers, his lamp's gone. So somebody said, near side or offside? And of course the guy got cut. But, I mean, it was great. And there was always, I mean, obviously gambling was illegal, but the bookmaker was always Pearson, his name was, lovely man, always sat in the same seat. Everyone used to come up. So you knew where to find him? Oh, they knew where to find him.
That was Colin Hart talking to me earlier, and that's what Colin Hart should do. He should sit with someone who understands and knows the error he's talking about, and then do it. Okay, that's when he's brilliant. That's when he's at his best. When he's back in the smoke-filled Royal Albert Hall talking about some of the great fights. Anyway, boxing back at the historic venue returns to the Royal Albert Hall after 13 years. It's live, by the way, on Box Nation with me and my good pal Richard Keys. Oh, you can't invent this stuff. But we are trying to